Hi, friends, and welcome back to the Culture Click. Let's make a fantastic ribeye steak. And let me just say, because it's been a minute since I've been able to update, I missed you guys so much, and especially cooking on camera. But with this fresh content, here's to hoping that the hiatus was well worth the wait. We're coming back with new tech equipment and upgraded audio. Hey! So if you noticed me in the video fighting for my entire life with that pepper cracker, sometimes the old ways are simply better. So I pulled out my Stonehenge mortar and pestle and got to work on about 50 black peppers. And there's definitely something kind of therapeutic about going at all those peppercorns with this big stone. One of the things I think I enjoy most about cooking is that you can really use it as the art of transference. Anything you're feeling frustrated about, you better take it out on those peppercorns because they deserve it. No, but in all seriousness though, this channel does not condone unnecessary violence against peppercorns. But once I had given them the good Thanos and turned them into dust, I rubbed them into the meat. Then I gave them a flip and I rubbed all that seasoning in on the other side. Culinary confession, up until this point in time, every time I made a steak salad, I was definitely using filet mignon. But considering price per ounce, that ribeye was looking awfully juicy and too tempting to pass up. Another thing that happened in my hiatus is my old stove died and I got a new one. Her name is Daenerys, but we're going to call her Danny for short. Let me know if you'd like an intro video on her. And for today's cook, I decided to go with a cast iron pan, although I am partial to the stainless steel. There's an ongoing debate amongst meat and steak lovers which one will cook better, cast iron or the steel skillet. I think that they both have their advantages, but for today I was just feeling a little bit more rustic and I did want to go with that aesthetic Le Creuset vibe, so here we are. And there's just something to be said about the sound that a steak makes when it's sizzling and cooking over the right amount of heat. Then, as the meat was doing its time in the pan, I decided to go ahead and thinly slice up these onions to caramelize them. Because when we start talking about toppings for a steak salad, I feel like an onion is the very first thing that comes to mind. And the only credit I can give myself here, other than my extremely slow and methodical cooking, was that this onion did not make me cry. So there's that. Then boom, here comes Danny with the flame because she breathes hot fire. And then I just slapped on my small little 6-inch all-clad skillet over that heat to get it going. And I was not looking for any extra kitchen drama or unpredictables. That's why I went with this skillet. It's kind of old faithful. And so long as you turn that heat down and let the onions do their thing, it's going to be really hard to mess that caramelization up. And speaking of caramelization, let's check out this beautiful flip crust, baby. That is the key word for today. You are looking for that crust. And it's also why you go in so hard with the seasoning. All that pepper and salt on the meat really helps it develop a beautiful skin as it's in contact with that heat. So when you're scraping your knife against it, you get that awesome audio. Because, I mean, who doesn't like diegetic kitchen noise? And let's just take a moment to acknowledge the Babish tongs. I absolutely love them. Best kitchen tongs I ever had. After those steaks are pretty much done cooking, we turn the heat way down and then I threw in some fresh rosemary because who doesn't like an aromatic with their meal? And I mean, honestly, after this, all the fancy footwork is pretty much done. So we get to just enjoy these gorgeous aerial shots of this meat. Let me tell you this about the ribeye. She was beautiful, she was thick and juicy. And though I won't lie, I do enjoy the filet more. The ribeye has her merits. If you were trying to feed a big crowd or a big family, this is the perfect cut to go with. Not only is it going to look pretty on the plate, but all that deep marbling inside is going to make sure that every bite is more flavorful than the last. Now back to the onions. That little char that the onions got on them is absolutely fine. We will just deglaze it later after they soften a little bit more in the pan. Meanwhile, I want my steaks to cool down with a little nice fat pat of butter right on top of them. My commitment to the animal fat is nowhere near Paula Deen levels, but I do like a nice spread of it. And then we're going to hit it again with some fresh rosemary just so it can kind of infuse a little bit more before we cut it. And now we're going to get to see if this dog hunts. The proof is in the pudding once you cut into her. Ooh, and she's gorgeous. This ribeye was so tender and juicy, which is another kind of funny effect of all that salt on the steak. Instead of drawing the moisture out, it seemed to lock it right in. And that first bite, she did not disappoint. It was so yummy. And once we were all done with this taste test and praise break, it was time to package the food up. I plated this steak over wild arugula with pumpkin seeds, caramelized onions, and wild tomatoes. This salad's such a cool way to get your meat and greens in one plate. See you on the next.